Hey guys, I wanted to talk about this skill called Stormbind, and the skill is probably the weirdest skill ever, and probably the clunkiest skill. But mainly I wanted to talk about all the weird interactions the skill has, and it's gonna question your sanity and the logic, because okay, so here's how it works. A gem itself has a two-part skill. One part is laying down runes, and another part is detonating those runes. So you lay down runes pretty fast. You can basically cover a full screen. They don't do anything until you improve those runes or just explode them. When you start channeling Rune Blast, it starts empowering runes or improving them. And as you can see, these 9 runes have been improved fully. You can improve them 3 times. It seems it can only like empower 3 by 3 area if you channel in a single spot. As you can see, the other runes explode in a chain reaction kind of. You don't need to empower all the runes, and turns out it may actually be better to just detonate them like that without improving them. I'm still low level, so I'm gonna be experimenting more and doing a proper build with this. So here's how it works, right? And now the weird thing is, the clunky thing is, I guess, is that you need to do 2 things at once, and not just cast 2 things like Frostbolt, Ice Snow, but you have to channel 2 things. So first you need to channel this to lay down runes. Good thing is that enemies on these runes have 50% reduced movement speed. They are hindered. The thing is, I was told that this hinder stacks with other hinder effect, which normally does not. So this could be a bug, and you may actually be able to get, like, if you combine Blight with Threshold Jewel to slow enemies down by 50% from hinder and slow down from this one, you may actually be able to completely freeze enemies and they would be unable to move. They can still attack and attack from distance and cast spells, but they will not be able to move, I think. That sounds like a bug, and hinder never stacked before, so that could be a bug. Next thing, so you channel 2 things while dealing no damage, and only deal damage when you finally release the Rune Blast. So it feels super damn clunky to play with it, because you see the enemies rushing at you, you start to chant, oh, don't kill me, wait, let me arm these, oh, now you can take damage. By the time you will be dead. So in order to avoid that, I decided to go with the totems. When you use totems, I'm not gonna be able to show it, but the totem will lay down runes. I'm gonna add some clips from stream. It's gonna lay runes, and then you're gonna explode them with the Rune Blast. The thing is, Rune Blast does not link to totems, so you can use it in the same setup on a one skill, but in the ideal case you would want 2 setups. One setup for totem to lay down runes, and another Stormbind setup just for the Rune Blast to increase the mana cost and give some utility, because you can add like casual channeling and another skill and just use Rune Blast with the channeling skill. Maybe I'm gonna get the channeling skill to show you. Right, I don't have another skill to show, but I'm gonna be channeling Rune Blast, which does nothing if there are no runes, and I'm gonna be channeling Blade Vortex. You can replace, of course, with Arc, and like you would place Totem, which would start laying down runes, and then you would start channeling before the Totem even places runes, and doing casual channeling. But then it just turns into casual channeling Rune Blast without the need of the Stormbind. So that's probably not going to be used very frequently, but then again, who knows. You can use casual channeling to kind of make the skill feel less clunky, but I want to use totems. And here's the weird thing: if you know Path of Exile and you know how the mechanics work, you know that if totems do the killing blow, you do not get anything. It counts as not really your kill, and you can't like proc. You cannot proc, let's say, Onslaught if totems do the hit or do the killing. You cannot proc on kill effects from totems, but with this you can, and it's just weird. You can basically proc everything. You can proc Elemental Overload because the runes are being placed by your totem. But you are using Rune Blast to improve them. Rune Blast itself does nothing, it just empowers the already placed runes. So it should be your Totem's damage. The damage from Stormbind does scale with Totem damage. I was getting Totem damage notes and it does improve the damage. So it should be Totem's damage, and it seems like it shouldn't be proccing Elemental Overload. It shouldn't be proccing like a Onslaught support gem. It shouldn't be proccing on kill effects. What else you can proc? Like Leech also. It shouldn't be proccing Leech when you detonate runes, and it should not. And you are gonna be taking damage against reflect enemies. You can't really do reflect maps because, well, I guess normally you couldn't because it's totems would also be dying, but you will be taking damage. So things like Aziri may also be sketchy with this, and because you could not really control how many and where to place those runes. Another thing I forgot to mention, the runes have fixed AoE. They always are the same size. But the good thing is, and the interesting thing is, that explosions can still scale AoE. And the explosions, you actually get 30% increased area of effect, more area of effect, and 100% more damage for each improvement, up to 3 improvements. So you get 90% more area of effect. It multiplies the already increased area of effect. So you can actually get a lot of AoE from those explosions and overlap many of those runes. Not just like 9, but possibly even more. Even outside the 3x3 radius. So normally when you're using AoE skills, let's say like Firestorm or like Ice Storm from Whispering Eyes, or what will be our example, or even let's say Molten Strike. If you get increased AoE, it also increases the spread of the projectiles or the firestorms. And if you want to maximize the damage on those skills, you actually need to reduce the area of effect. But on this, it's actually quite the opposite. You actually want to increase the area of effect, but because it does not increase the rune size, so they are always placed at the same distance, no matter how much AoE you get. Even if you get like 1000 AoE, it's still gonna place them at the same size, at the same distance from each other. But the overlapping is actually pretty insane with this. My goal will be to get as much efficient AoE as possible, and then see if I can overlap like many of those explosions. Another maybe interesting thing, I was actually thinking, you know how Orb of Storm triggers faster if you cast another lightning spell inside it? And look at the speed of Stormbind. The cast time is 0.08 seconds. So it's actually like 13 casts per second. But sadly, it seems like it doesn't, Orb of Storm doesn't proc as fast. I'm not sure why or what kind of mechanics limiting it, but I thought someone may want to know that. You basically can't use Stormbind to power up Orb of Storms faster than it normally can, because it seems like, well, if it was a self-cast and not a channeling skill, then it would work, but it doesn't, so sad. Another thing, all the runes, they do not roll critical strike on each rune. It seems like either all of the runes crit or none of them crit, just like basically any other skill in the game that can hit multiple times, and this is multiple hit. When runes explode, they explode in a chain reaction. They don't explode all as one. So you can't like make a big explosion and do like a big ignite or stuff like that. And it's not gonna stack into bigger shocks, for example. But it may work well because, like, let's say if the first rune would shock the enemy, then the second one would do more damage because the enemy is shocked, allowing a third rune to do even more damage because the enemy is shocked. But the lighting, as you know, lighting is very inconsistent, from very low damage to very high damage. So this one is the minimum damage and the maximum damage, the difference is 4 times right now. You can actually get one of the new cluster jewels to give lucky strikes for non-critical lighting hits, but I'm building a crit, but now I'm thinking it could have been easier to build non-crit. It would be more consistent damage, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna be building Hierophant getting totems. I didn't really want to get this, but I think I'm gonna be getting this. The more totems you have, the faster they spread those runes, and the faster the clear speed is gonna be. And the totem placement speed is gonna be basically mandatory if you want to play this kind of method with totems. And I haven't done this one, but I'm level 50, need a couple more levels before I can do this. But I assume the clear speed and the smoothness of this build will improve dramatically once I get that node. 50% totem placement speed, well, basically 70%. I think I mentioned everything. I did mention that totems do not link to Rune Blast, so forget about. Archmage. I think people are gonna want to know that you can actually link Archmage to any of the challenge skills, but the mana cost will be impossible to sustain. I can actually show you how fast I would consume mana. Of course, you can't use it with totems because it doesn't link with totems. So look at this. Stormbind costs 140 mana. If I'm gonna start using it, no mana. Just like that, no mana. So you can forget about using Archmage with any of the challenge skills. It's not gonna be a viable option. So yeah, I just wanted to mention Archmage. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. The next video will most likely be... I haven't actually done the final video with my Ice Nova Frostbolt build, and it's working out quite alright. It just... I did not want to invest more into the build because it was already time to do a new build. So we'll see, maybe I'll do a finishing video about the Frostbolt Ice Nova, or maybe I'll keep it for later in case this fails. So I would have something to jump into, like to finish the clear map or stuff like that. So for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.